So apparently a cluttered desk is a cluttered mind, or a cluttered lab is a cluttered mind. However, logically that says to me then, what does an empty desk signify? If a cluttered desk is a cluttered mind, then clearly an empty desk is an empty mind. But we've got to sort it out, because there does come a point in time where you've got to be careful, because the stuff I've got rocking around here, there's about 4 different projects scattered over here, and this is part of, I get to this point and I just got have to clear it up. I mean, I've got live stuff hidden in cloths so they don't touch anything. This is a big beefy battery bank. It's got a lot of energy in here, so I need to be careful. I've got lots of metal things everywhere and it's just getting completely out of control. So I thought I'd first of all let you know how I get into this state in the first place. It's not just some ADHD thing, but this is what it ends up looking like. I mean, to give you a brief overview, I mean, as I say, this is a battery bank. This is lithium phosphate. This actually goes in here, and this is why I need to clear this up, because I need to do some work on this. I need to replace this section here. I've got a spare one. I just had a little one of these snap off, which is it's not really a biggie, but I just don't like that it's come off the bottom there, and these help it to remain sturdy inside the case. This is a Peli case. This is usually popular for you know what, but this is a 2-plex plate, machine plate that fits perfectly into the Peli case. It's actually transparent, and then there's a thin black, so then you can machine control panel labels and things. So the battery bank will be going in here. You can see this is all aluminium, machined aluminium base plate there, which is bolted straight through the bottom with, again, 3mm aluminium. And this is like a cage system, so I've got M3 grub screws, basically long ones, and these basically go in, and you can see these plastic spacers that have got silicone tube around, just to give it a bit of a buffer. So this is designed to be able to be dropped quite heavily, and that battery bank is clamped inside there. So I've got a few more bits and pieces to do on this, but this is just one of the plates, the side plates, and some titanium screws. That side plate goes on here basically, and then this is the BMS, battery management system. This is a USB Bluetooth connection, so you can check the individual cells and stuff. But anyway, I'll do a whole separate video on that. This is a active balancer that just keeps all of those cells rocking at the same voltage. So that's basically what we've got going on, and I need to get all this cleared up, because I don't like dealing with stuff like this with high power and soldering. I've got to take this whole plate off. I've got to undo these. I'm going to have floating terminals here, which is just not a good look. So yeah, time to get it sorted out, and then I can feel a little bit more focused on what I'm trying to do. That's just a spare prototype plate. So that's essentially what I'm trying to achieve here, and I've got to get it all cleared up so I can see what I'm doing. There's just stuff everywhere. I mean, like I say, there's quite a few projects. Some of these things are just here that need to be soldered. So for example, this is like a high power magnetic contact, basically, that can rotate, but I need to solder the pins on there. So some of these things, let me grab that. Some of these things are just waiting for me to solder them, basically. And there's other things that I need to be testing. I've got some new, this is just a step up, I think, regulator, boost regulator, which is to replace another one that I wasn't that impressed with for a project. These are sort of 25 volt to 5 volt regulator, really nice quality ones, and I got a pack of 5 for about £3, so that was cool. I've got a 3.3 volt couple here as well. So there's quite a few things going on. Some of these things just need to be soldered up. I've got other things here which I've obviously started making something. These look like these are M2.5 spacers off a drone probably. But that's for a front panel for my main tier project which I'm working on. We've got an ESP32 here, look. S3 board. You see I use these magnetic contacts that swivel. It's quite convenient just to knock it off and clip it on. It saves your socket as well and your plugs from continually connecting and disconnecting. But yeah, see, this is the main pinout for the main tactical intelligence assistant, which every single pin is being used and more. So humongous project. I'll be sharing that with you to let you know what that's all about. This is like a frosting, clear frosting vinyl, and that's for a light bar module that I'm in the middle of perfecting. To give you an example, here's the actual light bar prototype number maybe 2. So these are 200 LED per meter, so it's basically 2 LEDs per centimeter, and they're small 3mm LEDs. So this is like really high resolution pixels, and this is a hexagonal aluminium bar which acts as a heat sink. But these strips are really difficult to solder because they're tiny. Look, the contacts are tiny. This is like 3.5mm, 4mm width, and I've got 3 connectors to solder in there. So even as a prototyping engineer, you want to try and avoid complex, really small, tight soldering like that. It's just, you're going to increase the errors. So this is very slightly wider, but not by much. But it's a significant difference when it comes to soldering these 3 connectors on each strip, and there's 6 strips for the hexagon. And so in the end, I've actually ended up going with this stuff, which is much nicer. And it's, I think this is 9.5. Sorry, this works out to be exactly, it's about 10 mil flat to flat, but it works out to be perfect for that LED strip, and it's very slightly larger than my original prototype, you see. But the way the LED strips land on here is much better. It's perfect edge to edge, so that's worked out nicely. And I've got a much bigger hole down the middle that I can pass cables through, and also acts as better heat dissipation, thermal transfer with the air as well, you know, having the hole in the middle. So this is like some of the things that are going on here actually, just sort of things like frosted tube, which was something I was working on for the light bar that goes inside the tube, yeah, and just diffuses it slightly. And so I need to put all this back in where they should come from, like stock aluminium sections, and I have a few lengths of different types of tubing from various projects. I also build water-cooled PCs, so you use a lot of these tubes for that as well. But it's just way out of control, as you can see. And recently I had a big issue with my power socket there, essentially melted itself. My bad, I had the air conditioning running on there and stuff, as well as my main PC was doing some rendering at the time, some 3D rendering, and essentially the plug socket melted. So I had to replace that, but I had a few losses. It corrupted a few things on my main system PC, ironically. So this plug socket here, this is actually deformed, slightly deformed. It must have been getting hot, but it was these are like the nastiest quality that have been in here since it was built. The lab was built. These have been in there since then. They must have been the cheapest sockets, and it was, you could hear it buzzing, going bzzz. So it was just a constantly bad connection that creates the heat, and then it finally triggered the main fuse box, and that was all she wrote. And despite the fact that this is all off-grid backup. You can see here, this is my Victron battery bank meter, so I've got full off-grid power backup systems with full Victron stuff and a battery bank that goes along there, so even if the power goes out, not everything turns off, like all these lights, things like the router, things like the CCTV security with the 8 cameras and so on there, all running off the off-grid supply. So and this is also slightly Faraday caged, the lab area, so there's, you know, it's immune from RF interference and stuff, both in and out, as well as being entirely independent off-grid, and all antennas are mounted externally. So yeah, it's quite a lot going on here. I'll probably do a full video on what I tend to use more than anything, but I just look at the state of it. It's all got to go back in where it's supposed to be going. You know, there's a home for everything basically, so there's no excuses. And yeah, it's just getting a little bit, you know, things like soldering iron tips, these supposed to be in here, things like blowtorch, a little mini blowtorch for, you know, heat shrink and stuff, random bits like that. There's probably a lighter here somewhere, yes, to light the blowtorch. Lots of different types of solder. This is my favourite because it's got lead in it. Oh, naughty. Depending on what I'm doing, but yeah, I still like the leaded solder. It's difficult to get hold of, and you do need ventilation and stuff as well if you're messing with that. But yeah, things like bits of strip board that I've already obviously cut bits off it for use. This is cool stuff because this is like this is three pins at a time sort of thing, which is quite convenient. So yeah, there's quite a few things I need to get sorted out. I've got a TFT display here from one of the previous tier modules with various hacks and mods on that. Needs to go back. I've got things like a replacement screen for something else I need to test as well. This was like, I bought 2 of these for about £4, so I'm not expecting much out of these, but so yeah, it's just, I mean, this, what even is this? I've got a massive power pack here for something. What is this? This is for, oh god, that was for that NAS box. I've got an old NAS box, network attached storage, that I thought, oh, I might get that back up and running because it might be quite convenient. Look at the state of it, man. This is a joke. This is what I'm saying. It just gets to the point where it's a liability, yeah? So I need to be putting everything back where it's supposed to be, getting everything in their respective drawers, and maybe help me to get cleaned up internally so I can start managing all these projects, get them banged out the way. My favouriteest solder sucker. Oh dear, this is obviously not really going to be very interesting to anyone unless you're someone who is sitting amongst this kind of a mess on a daily basis like I am. So I mean, what is even, I've got Kelly kettle stuff here, look, for bugging out, you know, bug out bag, camping, bushcraft, which I do as well. So I've got Kelly kettle here. I've got a water filtration system with an electric pump that I designed with filtered pickup and things. I mean, that's waiting to be put back together. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I've got to it's just, I guess it gets to the point where I just don't really know where to start, yeah? And I kind of know where everything is. This is like a flux pen. I know where everything is, but including my beautiful soldering iron, which has even got my own custom firmware on it. Don't know if you can see it. It's got 007labs.com comes up. I know, sad. But yeah, it's basically time to get it cleared up. Let me know your thoughts in terms of whether you think it is indeed a cluttered desk gives you a cluttered mind. I've got, you know, it's a really big project, so I need to get working on. I'm going to need this to be clear, so I can sort of focus and make sure everything goes perfectly to plan. And this is more about just being from a safety point of view, because as I say, with with all of these live terminals here, and there's quite a lot of energy in these lithium phosphates. If you get a short on that, you're going to be melting through some pretty tough wire, yeah, that wouldn't be a good look. Things like this lying around. Believe it or not, this is my it's so funny when I see these things and I'm like, what even is that? Oh, I remember making that. This is something I mocked up because I couldn't find my charger for doing those FP batteries, these chaps. Yeah, these Sony batteries, I find them really quite convenient for certain projects, like clonk, you can just plug them in and unplug them. So for example, I'll buy these sockets, yeah, which I can obviously hack into and that in the product, yeah, so you just have that bolted in on the side of your project or whatever, and then you just got your hot swap junk batteries. But I didn't have a decent charger for this, so I've just got here, this is like a 2-cell lithium ion 2-cell charger module, 5 volt input with the USB, yeah, so you give it 5 volt USB. It doesn't even need to be QC3 or anything, just regular 5 volt, and it's got a boost circuit here that boosts up to 8.4 volt for a dual lithium ion 2-in series pack, i.e. this. Even your ham radio Bayo thing, you can use it to charge those batteries as well. And then I've just got that into I hacked that into a little DC jack, yeah, which is then going into this little thing that I robbed out of something else, which fits in here, yeah. So that's how I'm charging it, right? I mean, it's just so dodge, man. But this is it, when I don't really have the budget to just go buying expensive chargers for these, whereas I happen to have one of these sitting in stock because they're quite useful for other projects, and then bosh. I mean, it's not a permanent solution, obviously. I mean, ideally I'll be building it into something like this, so I've got a dedicated charger, and all you'll see out the side is a little USB-C port, right? And then I've got myself a charger. But then I end up taking these things further. I'm like, well, if I'm going to do that, and that's why this is up there, because that's another project that I want to do, is to make my own charger that's got its own little OLED display and INA 219 current voltage measuring sensor, for example, so I have full discharge and charging wattages and stuff on display. So that's what this is there for, but it just ends up sitting there lying on the desk, and this is what I'm saying. This is why I seem to have put this, hidden it in the cloth, because this is my USB-C. This is like a PD board, power delivery board, so this can go up to 80 watts, I think this one does, 80 watts of juice. So this can boost up to 20 volts, and that charges this pack. The battery management system makes sure no one of those cells is getting too high, and long term, as I say, the active balancer makes sure that each of those cells remains the same and equalized. So that's kind of what that's all doing here, but this is essentially direct connection, yeah, to here through XT60s and the final. This is like the XT90 main thing. There's no fuses here yet, so I have to be careful with this kind of stuff, and this is where it starts getting a bit dodge. So I'm going to get all this tidied up, and we'll see how it looks when I'm done. And here we are, all nice and clear. Not perfectly clear, but it's most certainly better, I'm sure you would agree, than it was before. And obviously, as you can see here, I've got my battery bank, which is nice and secure and much easier to manage. And that will be the next project, is getting that sorted out so I can get it back in here. This is a part of a very large project which I'm really excited to share with you. This is just a silicon mat, by the way. This is like 3mm silicon. It's great as a soldering mat if solder or glue lands on here. Hot glue particularly just peels straight off. It's lovely. And I usually just roll with my most used precision engineering tools, basically side cutters and long nose pliers and things. I've got a few bits and pieces left to tidy up. I've got a hoover up as well, do some vacuuming, but you'll see I've got this here as well I need to sort out. My alien, this is Mrs. 007 Labs. My one's a male alien, but hers fell off my shelf unfortunately and her leg broke off, so we've got to fix Mrs. 007 Labs as well. A foot and a leg needs going back on, and a tiny little chip there as well that needs to go in. But yeah, it's all looking good. So I feel the question is though, Drew, is my mind clear now I've got a clear lab? Or at least this desk part of my lab. But yes, I am. I'm already feeling cleaner, lighter, yeah? Less chaotic in the brain, less insane in the membrane. Hoo-ha! So yeah, my helping hands, I could do with switching these silicone things I like to put on here. It just protects the things you're holding. This isn't actually very good silicone, but never mind. This is what I use to solder in. This has got bare here because these get hot when I'm soldering pins. Quick tip, put your device in there first, you know, like your header pins, right? And then put your thing in like I've done here. And then that is just basically ready to solder, and it just makes it much easier to hold it still while you're soldering. So there's a few things I need to do. I've got some pre-cut wires in here that I'd already prepared for another part of the project, and I need to cut a new length for the light bar. I've already made like the version 4, version 5 of the light bar. This is going to be version 6, but it's going to be slightly longer, so I need to cut another length of the hex bar. So I'll probably include you in that so I can show you a bit more detail about what I'm doing with it. And as well, I've got to fit an LCD display in here, plus microcontroller and some other top secret stuff that I'll share with you. And then it won't be top secret anymore. Oh yes, I need to replace that from there, and then that can go back in the case. I need to cut these off, these two off, and you see here as well, I'll need to re-drill a hole in here for the spacer for the side plate that also goes on there. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, ask me anything you want to ask me, and in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed an insight into my chaotic mind, which is now a very clear mind. Thank you for sharing in this experience with me, tidying up. I feel much better, ready to do some videos for you now, so let us know in the comments what you want me to show you next, and I'll be doing the live tech reports and so on. But you know how it is, always use your potential to become monumental, and always go beyond experimental.
007 Labs. Beyond experimental.